At 30,000 feet, somewhere between two cities and two lives, sat a man who looked like he had everything except peace. Beside him, a little girl clutched an ice cream drawing and smiled at the clouds. "Mister, why are you so sad?" The question struck deeper than turbulence ever could. The man, David Cole, a name built on power, had no answer. For a second, he laughed, awkward, surprised. Then, without warning, tears he didn't understand began to rise. He turned toward the window, hiding from a 4-year-old's honesty. Rosie, that was her name, told him about her mom, their tiny apartment, and how she drew happy faces so the world would feel better. David listened, really listened for the first time in years. "This one's for you, mister." A stick figure in a blue suit, smiling under the sun. Simple. Perfect. Something he hadn't been in a long time. The plane trembled as it hit a pocket of turbulence. Rosie's tiny hand reached out without fear, and instinctively he held it. For a moment, titles, power, and pride disappeared. All that remained were two souls, holding on to each other, steadying a world that suddenly felt safe again. Minutes later, the little girl drifted to sleep against his arm. Outside, the sky burned gold, a canvas of peace he hadn't felt in years. And in that quiet moment, somewhere above the clouds, a man rediscovered what kindness truly felt like. In the window's reflection, he no longer saw a powerful CO, but a man who'd forgotten how to feel. The sunlight caught a single tear sliding down his cheek, not of pain, but of awakening. Somewhere between the clouds and the earth below, his heart began to remember who he truly was. The plane began its slow descent through layers of gold and silver light. As the wheels touched the ground, David felt something shift inside him, a landing of his own. The seatbelt sign chimed above, reminding him that even endings can be the start of something new. As passengers stood to leave, Rosie turned back and waved, her smile brighter than the morning sun. "Bye-bye, mister," she said, her tiny voice echoing louder than the engines. He waved back, holding a smile that trembled, because some goodbyes don't end with distance. They live forever in the heart. He watched them disappear into the crowd, a mother and daughter lost among hundreds of strangers, yet unforgettable. As he reached for his briefcase, a flash of color caught his eye. Rosie's drawing, a smiling man beneath the sun. And for the first time, he realized that man could be him. He sat alone in the terminal, the noise of the world fading into silence. For years, he'd chased success, mistaking it for happiness. But now, holding a child's simple drawing, he felt something richer than any deal he'd ever signed. Peace. A quiet reminder that sometimes healing begins with a stranger's smile. Outside the airport doors, the city felt different, lighter, almost new. David took a deep breath, the kind that fills you with courage. Then, with trembling hands, he made a call he'd avoided for years. His voice broke, but his heart didn't. "Hi, Dad, it's me." Sometimes, change begins with just 3 words. Weeks later, David stood outside a children's hospital, sunlight spilling across the glass doors. In his hand, a small gift bag. Inside, Rosie's drawing. He didn't know what he expected to find, only that he needed to be there. Sometimes, healing isn't about answers. It's about showing up with love. Under a golden sky, David closed his eyes and smiled. Not the smile of a businessman, but of a man finally free. He whispered to the wind, "I'll never forget what a little girl taught me at 30,000 feet. The world felt quiet, gentle, alive. For the first time, he wasn't sad anymore.